Hey, mate, what are you doing?
I'm desperately trying to upload this Amorim video before James Alcott does. It's a race against time.
I've got some bad news.
Hello, I'm the Irish guy, and oh dear, obsessing over what James uploads? Feels like the HITC days all over again. Oh, wait, I shouldn't have mentioned their name. It's like saying Candyman in the mirror 3 times. I feel like I'm melting like a Kit Kat in the sun. Well, lads, while the media is fixated on Manchester United sniffing over average British milk muffins like Jason Wilcox and Gary O'Neill, 2 men who used to work for the most hated rivals, don't forget. I think we've forgotten that the big news is actually that Liverpool have been rejected by Xabi Alonso. I mean, it shouldn't be too much of a shock. I mean, he was the guy the club tried to turf out for Gareth Barry. A bit insulting that. A bit like a record label dropping Beyonce in 2010 to instead focus on some fat choir boy. Well, lads, I'm going to take a look at Liverpool's managerial options. And don't worry, okay, for those of you who still want the midweek Premier League predictions, I will do them at the end of the video. Oh, and don't worry, the paint is coming tomorrow. Tomorrow officially. Tomorrow afternoon, tune in for the paint. Oh, lads, before we start the video, hit that subscribe button, you absolute legends. Nearly at 199, that would be incredible. Hit that button, you absolute legends. Back into the video. Well, lads, right, okay, the front runner for the Liverpool job right now is 39-year-old Portuguese coach Ruben Amorim, currently at Sporting Lisbon and be marketed as a mini Mourinho. I mean, you know, some managers look like their idols. I mean, both David Wagner and Enzo Maresca very clearly just bring photos of Klopp and Guardiola to their barbers. Yeah. Mourinho is a suave, handsome, debonair boss that looks like he's pulled off the set of The Gentleman. I mean, Amorim, he looks like the love child of Diego Simeone and Hozolu. But lads, I get why some Liverpool fans are excited. This is different. This is somebody who plays with a back 3, and it's a more controlled, possession-based approach instead of Liverpool's wild, heavy metal football. He likes the centre halves to build up play from the back, breaking the line, supported by a defensive double pivot. I mean, look, the potential Amorim lineup would look good. It would be juicy. You'd have Alisson Becker in goal, then a back 3 of Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahim Konate, and new £50 million signing from Sporting, Ousmane Diomande. A ball-playing 20-year-old sensation centre-back in Portugal right now, an Ivory Coast international, currently linked with a £60 million move to Arsenal. Then you'd have the 2 flying wing-backs, Andy Robertson and Connor Bradley, with a midfield double pivot of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Alexis McAllister. Yes, neither one are a true defensive midfield destroyer, and so this might not work. But come on, when Liverpool have the ball against weaker sides, dominating possession at Anfield, it would be almost impossible to get the ball off this midfield double act. Amorim then likes to operate with 2 number 10s behind the striker, with the wing backs providing all the width. To me, this would be the perfect position for Dominic Szoboszlai. This Hungarian superstar has been playing as a number 8 this season, but I think his best position is as a number 10. Turn this guy back into the saucy number 10 that he was at RB Leipzig. Give him the Odegaard freedom in the final third of the pitch. I mean, to be fair, Amorim will be gutted that he just missed out on the opportunity to manage Bruno Fernandes at Sporting Lisbon, because if he hadn't, considering Bruno had a 33-goal season in Portugal, under Amorim, he would have been world class. And similarly with Szoboszlai, why can't you turn this bloke into the Hungarian Kaka? As a number 10, he would be filthy. And then beside him, the other inside forward, this is going to look wacky, but I'm going to say Mohamed Kudus. Yeah. Not Salah. Lads, Kudus is the future and is perfect for Amorim ball. This 23-year-old Ghanaian superstar might like bullying ball boys out of their seats, but he is one of the most exciting players in the Premier League right now. For West Ham fans, he's like Dimitri Payet and Joe Cole all rolled into one sensational, breathtaking footballer. Can I say, 2 weeks ago, he just scored a goal in Europe where he dribbled half the pitch for Liverpool, playing him beside Szoboszlai. Behind the focal point, the centre forward Darwin Núñez, it would be delicious on the verge of diabetes. Yes, I would sell Salah. It sounds crazy, but this is a new Liverpool era. Salah was very symbolic of the glorious Klopp reign, but that reign is dead. Salah turns 32 years of age in June. He's on £350,000 a week and is out of contract in the summer of 2025. So what's the alternative? Either you sell him this summer, or you offer him a new fat contract, or he just walks for less than a packet of Starburst next year. Let him go. You will probably find some foolish Saudi Pro League club who will be prepared to pay £80 million for him. Let him him go. Yes, he's a Liverpool legend, but time moves on. Amorim needs to start afresh. He has had 7 world-class seasons in the Liverpool shirt. He has been a Premier League megastar. But again, he turns 32 in 2 months' time. Focus on Kudus. Take the £80 million from the Salah sale and chuck it at West Ham for Kudus. To me, it just makes sense. And then you still got the attacking options like Diogo Jota, Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz, and Ben Doak on the bench. That is more than enough for another title challenge. All Amorim needs to do is buy 2 players. Diamande, Kudus, and maybe a proper defensive midfield destroyer. Like his old boy, João Palhinha. Maybe take him from Fulham for £35 million, if there's any money left. Look, I know he turns 29 this summer, but this is not like when Manchester United bought Casemiro, okay? Because he'd already won everything. This is still a very hungry player, and I think doing all the ugly dog work in that midfield pivot with either Trent or McAllister, he would be crucial in freeing up the rest of the more talented attacking players to get on the ball and play. So yes, Amorim ball sounds nice, and he has got credentials. He took over a Sporting Lisbon team who had not won the league in 19 years, since before they even let Ronaldo make his debut. It was that long ago. And yes, he led them to the title in 2021, and even has them top again right now. Amorim is a Sporting Lisbon legend, and Liverpool fans are excited, but we have been here before. To me, Amorim seems like a Chelsea pick, because that is a club who always like to go for a punt. This is a club who likes to take a risk, because they've got such a short-term policy when it comes to managers. It doesn't matter if it works out or not. Chelsea have appointed so many risks, like an unproven Anthony Villas-Boas. Both Antonio Conte and Maurizio Sarri, who've never worked in England before. A completely raw Frank Lampard hired from Derby County was a stupendous risk, as was the stupid money chucked at Brighton for Graham Potter. But Liverpool, when they've appointed managers, it's always been when they're sure. Liverpool are a serial monogamist. When they choose someone, they choose diligently. They ain't going on Tinder dates with crazy women who look like they just come from boiling their own cats in a stew. Chelsea are the ones who don't really care. They just have many flings, so it doesn't matter if they're getting crazy eyes on the first date. I mean, look at Liverpool. Both Rafa Benitez and Jurgen Klopp had won the league titles in Spain and Germany. They were both considered elite. Roy Hodgson was a Premier League proven manager who had just reached a European League final with Fulham. Okay, Brendan Rodgers was a risk. That was a bit like when Chelsea hired Potter. I mean, he'd only had 1 season in the Premier League with Swansea, and 3 years earlier at being fired by Reading. But other than him, Liverpool get proven managers. Amorim is a Chelsea manager. To me, the move to make, Liverpool, go get Julian Nagelsmann. I know, not just because it would be a smooth transition, going from one German coach whose name begins with J-U to another one. No, but it's not that. It's just this guy is the real deal. Trust me, I'm calling it now. Germany are going to have an incredible Euro 2024, and in 3 months' time, this bloke's stock is going to be sky high. I've been like Roberto Mancini after Italy won the Euros 3 years ago. I don't care that he's bitten off by Bayern Munich. After a sensational Euros, he's going to be linked with Real Madrid. Lads, this guy is far too good for international football. He's someone who worked miracles with Hoffenheim. He rocked it with RB Leipzig, a club who were just 10 years old when he took the job. Honestly, a 31-year-old manager in charge of a club who were only invented in 2009. It was weird. Anyway, by the time he was done, he had taken this new Frankenstein invention to within 1 game of a Champions League final, just losing that 1-game semi against PSG. Sure, he was sacked at Bayern Munich, but it was so unfair. He was only given 1 full season at the Allianz, still won a Bundesliga title, 2 Super Cups. He won 60 of his 84 games in charge. He was sacked last season in March, despite having won every single Champions League game that season, 8 wins and 7 clean sheets, and he was sacked for Thomas Tuchel. Why? Then again, this is the same crazy club who also sacked guaranteed European success in Carlo Ancelotti. Nagelsmann is a man who's all about gegenpressing. He is the perfect fit for the Liverpool gig. Honestly, I know it's not ideal. If Germany reach the Euro 2024 final, then he won't finish work until the 14th of July, so he won't be able to have a full preseason with Liverpool. But so, give him a 1-week break to soak in the win, and then by the end of July, get him to Anfield, and he will have 3 more weeks until the season starts. I think Nagelsmann is the sure thing, the perfect long-term fit. Amorim is a risk. Lads, Anthony Villas-Boas is a scary ghost story. This is a man who was heavily linked with the Liverpool job 13 years ago. Lads, forget about the hype that Ruben Amorim has right now. After major success in Portuguese football, sure, lads, nothing can possibly conquer the hype that Villas-Boas had in 2010. All the signs pointed to him being the next nailed-on world-class great. I wish YouTube football was around back then, because so many people will be screaming to the sky how brilliant this man is and how he is the future of football. Lads, Xabi Alonso and Mikel Arteta are both held up as the next hot things because they were both mentored by Pep Guardiola. Yeah, not only was Villas-Boas Jose Mourinho's literal spy, literally, he was on the backroom staff during Mourinho's ridiculously successful spells at Chelsea and Inter Milan. Villas-Boas was a treble-winning coach. Yes, okay, all they did in Italy was just put out the training cones, compile dossiers, and fetch Mourinho his morning cookies, but still, not only was he bred by the greatest manager in the world, but even as a teenage boy, this is a kid who used to live in the same hotel as Sir Bobby Robson. At 16 years of age, this guy used to pester the great Bobby whilst he was Porto manager. He nagged him so much that he actually managed to nab a work experience gig at Ipswich Town, purely because he used to, I don't know, get Bobby some Kit Kats from the local vending machine. This is someone who weirdly was rejected by Burnley in January 2010 after Owen Coyne snaked them to join Bolton Wanderers, which probably prompted a young Thogden to continuously wee his bedsheets in excitement. Honestly, poor old Thog mum was probably up until 6 a.m. googling if she could still abort a 9-year-old. I don't think you can. Not unless you covered him in honey and fed him to the bears at the zoo. But in Villas-Boas' debut season as manager of FC Porto, he was insane. He had inherited a weak, sloppy side who had just finished a meek third in the league and had been eaten like scrambled egg by a poor Arsenal in the Champions League. Honestly, this is just 5 years after Porto had been European champions. And here they were letting a party boy chicken like Nicholas Bender score a Champions League hat-trick past them. It was a big fat yuck. Then AVB comes in and he immediately creates the Invincibles. The maximum points you can get over a 30-game season in Portugal is 90 points, right? Yeah. Porto took 84. They only conceded 16 goals all season long. They also won the Portuguese FA Cup, the Community Shield, oh yeah, and the Europa League, winning the final in Dublin. The youngest ever manager to win that competition. That, my friends, is a quadruple won by a 33-year-old manager with the likes of James Rodriguez, Hulk, and Falcao. That Porto side were one of the most dangerous attacking teams in Europe. AVB had far more hype than Amorim has right now. I mean, are you kidding? A wonder kid coach barely out of his 20s who soaked up the champion mentality from his years working alongside Mourinho and Sir Bobby. This is someone who was part of 2 Champions League winning squads as a backroom coach. I mean, the first one with Porto was back when he was just 26. Sorry, what? He was a superstar, a nailed-on world-class manager. He was destined to be a Premier League legend, surely. In June 2011, Chelsea paid Porto a world record £13 million compensation to activate his release clause. It was a no-brainer. This man was the next Mourinho. If he had frozen time then and told someone in the summer of 2011 that Chelsea would win the Champions League that season, you would think Villas-Boas was better than Guardiola. Chelsea did win the Champions League that season, yes. But he was sacked in March. He was replacing a born winner in Ancelotti. He was handed a star squad, and he failed to win most of his 40 games in charge. But I suppose he only won 3 of his final 9 Premier League games. This guy was destined to be a world great, and yet he then lasted just 18 months at Tottenham, where all his defenders looked like bananas trying to run. He was nothing special at Zenit, Shanghai, or Marseille. This guy was just 1 month older than Eddie Howe, and yet his career in football is finished. Ruben Amorim, is he the same? Is he another AVB? Is he? Is this man the real deal? An exciting up-and-coming manager in his 30s who is creating magic in the Portuguese league? Is this a stupid and lazy comparison? I know everybody is raving about Amorim, but we haven't seen him outside the Portuguese league. It is a risk to go and appoint somebody from Portugal. Yes, I know Mourinho was given the Chelsea job after being in the Portuguese league, but I am sorry. He had just turned Porto into European champions. That was undeniable. Amorim hasn't done that with Sporting. If anything, they've been largely wet pancakes in Europe under him. In the 21-22 Champions League season, they conceded 9 goals against Ajax and lost a last 16 knockout match 5-0 at home. That has a whiff of Villas-Boas ball, who got regularly trashed by the big guns when he was Tottenham boss, losing by 5 and 6 against the likes of Liverpool and Man City. In the 22-23 Champions League season, Sporting bottled qualification from the group after winning their first 2 games. They conceded 6 against Marseille and were knocked up by Eintracht Frankfurt at home. To be fair, they did then knock Arsenal out of the Europa League, but that was mostly down to a freakish fluke goal from the halfway line. Even this season, they were just knocked out of the Europa League by a fairly average Atalanta. Amorim has not pulled up any trees in European competition. I mean, even Villas-Boas did that. In his only season in charge of Porto, they were winning Europa League quarterfinals and semi-finals by an aggregate of 10-3 and 7-4. So to sum it up, I don't know. On paper, Ruben Amorim sounds like the real deal, but he could just wind up being another AVP. I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know if he would be a Liverpool success or a Liverpool flop. So if it was up to me, Nagelsmann. Anyway, as for the results this week, okay, very quickly then. Newcastle 1, Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Fulham 2, Bournemouth 3, Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 1, Wolves 0, West Ham 2, Tottenham 1, Arsenal 4, Luton 0, Brentford 3, Brighton 3, Man City 4, Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 6, Sheffield United 0, and Chelsea 0, Man United 0. And lads, if I don't get at least one correct scoreline, then I will pour 5 boxes of Milky Frosties all over my head. How fun. Anyway, that's the video. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Is it going to be Amorim or Nagelsmann? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like, share, and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.